After over 12 years of living in Las Vegas, I have seen this place change a lot. But no matter what, when you get ready to move here, there's going to be some things that you probably are not ready for or didn't expect. And these are some things I'm going to share with you that were personal to me when I moved here. So hopefully they're helpful and beneficial to you when you decide to move here to Southern Nevada in the future. So, and speaking of moving, guys, keep in mind I am a licensed real estate agent and mortgage loan officer. So if you need help with one or both of those, I'm happy to do that for you. There'll be a QR code up here, the link down below. You can use those to get in contact. And this year so far, I've had one home sale for $375,000, and then last year I had one for just over $2 million. So I've got quite the range so far with some of these. So whether you're a single family home, condo, townhome, multi-million-dollar mansion, does not matter. I'm happy to do what I can to help you with that process. So talking about this, okay, the first thing I want to talk about, things I didn't expect, and this is about the people here, right? But it's probably a little different than what you mostly hear online because, man, I can tell you, when I was getting ready to move here, I saw no shortage of stuff online about, when you move here, the people you're going to meet and how supposedly, it's difficult to meet people and it's so transient and that sort of thing. And there's an element of truth to that. I mean, this area, the state of Nevada, I remember seeing this over a decade ago, was the most transient state in the country. Something like 76% of people who live here are not born in this state. So you have a lot of people who come and go, and especially if you come here like me, came by myself, single person, had no family here, no friends here, no major connections here. It's easy to move here, whether you're single or a couple, or even as a family. Maybe you're only here for a year or two and you're like, you know what, I don't like it here. You have no particular ties to the area, so you just up and move. That's different than a lot of people when they have a lot of family and support system around them. So that does happen. You have people who come here for just certain jobs. Temporarily they're here only for a little while. Once that job is done, they move on to somewhere else. But the flip side to all of that is that you can meet some great people here. All right, for holidays over the years, different holidays I have spent at people's houses. I'm talking 4th of July, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. I have spent at someone else's house before, invited me over. New Year's Eve is another one, and just gotten to join them and get together that they were having. So there's times I've either been sick or injured. People would pick me up groceries. I've had people help me move before. So, yeah, there can be a time where it's tough to meet some people. If you want to go meet your neighbors, you can. I know that some people like more privacy and more alone time. I get it. But if you want to meet your neighbors, you can. If you want to join groups and go out and get to meet other people you have common interests in, you can. If you want to join a religious organization that's similar to yours, you can. Employees at your workplace, your coworkers that you work with. There's lots of options you have to get to meet people. There's over 2 million people who live here in Southern Nevada, okay? And I'm sure with the millions that live here, you can find some that you can make friends with or that you can actually build, establish relationships with. So, and speaking of which, that brings me to talking about families. Now, this is another thing I saw online here, because this, when you get ready to move to Vegas, you'll see good, you'll see bad, and I'm going to cover in both in this video for you. So with families, I saw so much negativity around families and saying, it's a terrible place to raise families, and I didn't think there were going to be very many families here when I moved here. That was totally wrong. So think about this, just in the Clark County School District, okay, there's over 300,000 students. So then you have to factor in, over 300,000 just in the school district. Then you factor in, thousands more that either go to private schools, that maybe do online learning, homeschooling, some other educational program, more kids that are not of school age yet. So I will conservatively say you have tens of thousands of families that live here in Southern Nevada. So, and they're out doing everyday activities. I'm on the east side today over at Hollywood Regional Park, and there's people out here playing pickleball right now, enjoying their day off. I was here the other day in the evening, and there was people playing soccer, there was people throwing footballs around, there's a dog park right over here, someone's serving food, there's families, kids running around, doing things that everyday families do, no matter what part of the country you're in. So, the idea that it's not an attractive place for families. We have tens of thousands of them here that raise their kids here every single day, and they live lives that are very quote unquote, normal, just like the rest of the country. Their communities have family activities. The parents whose kids go to school together get to know each other. They make friends and they build relationships. So that's one of those things that whether it's in Las Vegas or in some other part of the country, you're going to find families, you're going to find people who are raising their kids and want to raise them well just like you do. So you're not going to be alone in that if you're coming here either as a family or you're coming here and you plan to start a family here. Something else I did not expect when I moved here. Took a little time to get used to because I moved here in the wintertime, okay? So the amount of darkness that we have during the winter months, and I remember reading a little bit on like the city data forums when I was getting ready to move here. Because social media, all these major platforms existed with the exception of TikTok, but YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, they were around, but not nearly as not nearly as many people use them then. I was, or excuse me, before I moved here I did not, but not long after I moved here I did start doing that. Part of the reason was because I could not find people online on YouTube or other platforms making content about living here, travel stuff, and things to do. It was very difficult to find. So when I did move here though, and I saw about how dark it is during the wintertime, because I saw a little bit online about Nevada's position and whether it should be Pacific or mountain time. And in the winter months, yeah, you spend, especially December, that's when I moved here was December. So I remember working graveyard. I used to get up at like 5 p.m. or so to go to the gym and that sort of thing, come home, shower, eat, and get ready to go to work. So it was dark when I would wake up. I'd go to work my graveyard hours, get off at like 7, 8 in the morning. So I'd have a few hours of sunlight before I was getting ready to go to bed, probably around 10 a.m., 11 a.m. Yeah, probably around like 10 a.m., which sucked too, because if I had to go to the bank or something and they open at 9 a.m., I'm like ready to fall asleep and that sort of thing. So yeah, not seeing the sun a whole lot for the first few months I moved here because of the time of year I moved here and the hours I was working. That took some time to get used to. Then we had spring forward an hour and I got to see the sun more, but that's one thing in the wintertime, it gets pretty dark pretty early here. So I prefer the sunlight, but that was something when I first moved here was kind of got thrown into the fire on that one. It was not something I thought I was going to be experiencing when I got here. Something else, though, to keep in mind when it comes to living here, and I think I'd read about this, but didn't really understand it until I definitely lived here and experienced it. First time I felt it on my skin was the hard water. Okay, so this is something I remember reading about, some hard water. What an oxymoron. I don't get that. But when you live here, you'll see it because you'll see it in your kitchen. You have clear glasses. You'll see the marks it leaves on your glasses. When you get out of the shower, unless you have a water softener, you get out of the shower, you're going to be putting plenty of body lotion on, definitely. You're going to be living in body lotion when you're here and you get out of the shower because it will dry your skin out. Now, when you come and stay here in the hotels and stuff, they have water softeners, right? So you don't deal with that. But when you live here and you get that hard water, that's something that was wow, this, my skin is dry. When I was living in California, I don't remember being this dry, or my skin getting this dry when I would get out of the shower and dry off. But yes, you'll experience hard water when you move here if you're not familiar with it. And certain things about living here and the aspects of the weather. Okay, this is one thing I'll say. Coming here, like most other people, I'm thinking it's Vegas. I'm thinking it's a desert, and that's it. It's always hot in Las Vegas. That's all I knew, And I came here twice as a kid. We came here, one for a dedicated vacation, one it was just a stop for a day or two. But they were both in the summertime when lots of families go and take trips. So I'm just thinking it's Vegas, it's going to be hot. When I visited here for 1 week to find work and find a place to live, it was cool, but it wasn't cold. It was the week right after Thanksgiving. Yeah, right after Thanksgiving. So it was cool, but it wasn't cold here. So that was one thing that when I moved here during the wintertime, seeing those nights where at nighttime it gets below freezing when the wind picks up, not fun. During the springtime, I did not expect so much wind that we get. So April's our windiest month. That's when you'll see, the news reports of 20, 30, 40, 50, I think even up to 60 plus mile an hour winds sometimes, depending on which part of, the area you're in. So, and you'll see social media posts about someone's trampoline going flying into someone else's yard. You'll see some funny stuff like that. So I was not prepared for that, for the wind in the wintertime. And some years are stronger than others. And then summertime, the monsoons. I still remember my first May that I lived here, driving on the freeway. I was heading home and seeing a billboard that said, slow down for puddles or slow down for flooded streets or something. And I'm like, dude, it's May. June's around the corner. It's summertime in Vegas. It's going to be hot and dry. Like what morons spend money on this billboard? And then that was when I found out about monsoons. I remember that. My first summer here, getting to experience some of the monsoons, just the downpour of rain that you get, temporarily, and then it's just gone. We only get about 4 inches of rain in a given year. So, but you will have some of those monsoons that just downpour for a little while, and they'll see just streets are flooded and that sort of thing for some time, and the water clears out, right? We have much better infrastructure to get that water out than they had decades ago. But that's something that I did not expect when I got here. And in recent years, we actually have not had as much during the summertime. The monsoons really have not been that noticeable. So, from year to year, it does depend. And speaking of monsoons and rain, and when it rains, oftentimes you get grass that grows. The lack of greenery. Okay, so I'm here at the park where you can have plenty of green grass to go and play on, right? And that sort of thing. So, the lack of greenery is one thing here. Even surrounded by the mountains we are in the, right here in the Vegas Valley, you see there's not that much green on these mountains here. So, a lot of the new homes here, right, can't even have grass in their front yards. They have the desert landscaping. It's just rocks and rocks. You drive on the freeway, alongside of the freeway, it's not grass, it's not green grass, it's freaking rocks. It's just brown rocks like all over the place. You're definitely in the desert, man. So you go to a local park where you'll see more grass. Even in your neighborhood, right, they might have like a little small park that's really just for like dogs to use and that sort of thing. So that's where you're gonna see it. Okay, so when I moved here, that took some time to adjust to seeing just all this brown and just rocks. And I was like, man, dude, like, where's the greenery around here? And I got used to that. But when I first moved here, I was like, oh, now I appreciate it. I love the landscape here. And if you do want some more greenery, yes, you go to the park, but also you have Mount Charleston, which is not that far away, especially like in the northwest part of town. I mean, depending on how far you live, you could be there in, 30 minutes or less. If you live, more like probably towards Henderson, it's going to take you an hour plus. But it's a great day trip. It's a great day trip to do. Definitely the mountains are pretty. Definitely more green up there. So if you want to see that, it's not that far of a drive. But when I got here, I remember noticing that took some time definitely to get used to. So all the locals, if you have more, please share them down in the comments below. I'd love to hear that. I'm sure the future locals would also like to hear your thoughts of what took time to get used to. Remember, guys, you need help with buying, selling, or renting a place here in Las Vegas. So QR code on screen, link down below. I'll be happy to help you with that process and do what I can. So thanks for watching this video. I appreciate all of you being here. I'm Jacob. This is My Life in Vegas.